Look at Shea Coulee with Elizabeth Warren. What a moment.
Yes, Shea. Oh, I love Shea so much. We are about to embark on a brand new tour together. I think it's announced by now. It's It's called the Nubia tour.
Oh.
Wow. It's the first time everybody's ever said it out loud. And so we've been planning this tour for a while, and she's a class act. Shea, I was really intimidated by her when she walked onto the set. I was like, this bitch, she says she's not here to play, she's here to slay, and I never really heard that before.
Right.
I was like, oh.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, oh my goodness, I'm ready to fight, I'm ready to come in to fight. She's one of the sweetest and most creative and most fashion-aware people that I know.
Now, a lot of people said that had it been racked up statistically, she would have been the winner in a traditional season of Drag Race without that lip sync wheel.
That's true. Just prior to, and I'll be very honest, I didn't think that I was going to stay after our top 4 moment. We had our top 4 show, and traditionally, up until that point, every season up until that point, they'd eliminated the 4th queen, and it would just be 3 that would go on to the finale, and they would do this like lip sync that was kind of pre-choreographed.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going home. I was like, I'm just going home. But that I didn't know then that episode was going to be a singing and songwriting challenge. And I was like, oh, I got this.
Uh-huh.
And so I think I did pretty well. And you could tell, we went in, we filmed. They're like, okay, Peppermint, go home. And I went home. They filmed each of us going home. I was the first, which meant that was the one that they were really kind of choosing for. And then Golden Girls, I just recognized.
Yes, a Hunties exclusive.
Yes. And then then we were getting out of drag, and they're like, wait a minute, come back. And they brought us back in, and they're like, bitch, you're all staying. And we're like, okay, they must have just made that decision. So during the finale, Trinity was like, look, we have to be strategic about this. If they spin that wheel, let's make a deal. Peppermint, if it lands on you, you have to choose me. And if it lands on me, I have to choose you. Because out of the 4 of us, we have to eliminate one of us 2 before we get to the top 2, the last one. Because they want to see Shea and Sasha lip sync against each other. And they can't do that in the finale. If I had picked Sasha or Shea, they would have eliminated me no matter what. And Trinity says if they had picked her, they would have eliminated her so that Sasha and Shea could lip sync against each other in the final.
Right.
And so it was very strategic, and I think she was right. And so we went against each other to make them go against each other in the semifinal, so that one of us would have a chance.
Right. And that was when we forgot to mention, when we were talking about Trinity, when you pulled the stunt, seen across the world, only to be upstaged by another stunt.
Yeah, I kind of thought through it, and I was like, okay, let me get this dress, let me get this hair put together, and then it was I wasn't sure how that was going to work out. It was a wing and a prayer and a safety pin on that stage, and it worked. And I was like, well, there's my tricks. That's my gimmicks. That's all I need for the night. And then Sasha Velour scalps herself with rose petals, which you saw, I guess, the last 2 months ago on Saturday Night Live, Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. Anyway, so yeah, that was a crazy finale. But Shea, you're right. Shea was honestly the most solid scoring person on the season. And so I'm excited to see what happens
Next. Yes, yeah. Exactly. Okay, look at her.
Sasha Velour.
Tell me, did y'all know about the rose petals?
I had no idea. I had no idea about her rose petals or her rosebuds. I had no idea. I mean, we were all in this huge room for the finale, and we were all kind of focused on our own thing. And so we knew it was obviously the top 4 of us. So everybody was getting dressed. And then once it was time for the top 4 to lip sync, the other queens went out into the audience. So we all kind of spread out a bit. And I took a corner, and I was over in the corner with the stuff dripping from the ceiling onto my dresses.
How dare they?
How dare they put us in the Alex Theater dripping? And I was trying to figure out that outfit, the contraption. So I really didn't pay attention. I saw at one point that she had rose petals in her glove. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool. But I just didn't know, like, I didn't understand it.
Right.
And I remember thinking, once I saw it, because the rose petals was when she went against Shay. When I saw it, I was like, oh, this bitch is for real. I gagged, because none of us had seen Sasha lip sync during the entire season. And so this bitch is coming with gags and gimmicks, darling.
Mm-hmm.
And when she pulled that out of her head, I had never seen that before. Like, I've seen people take off their wig, and usually there's another wig underneath or something, or their natural hair. But like baldness and roses. And so I was like, this is too much. I'm quaking in my boots. But we got to know each other. She was probably the person that I was almost the closest with, the person I had a really deep connection with on our season. We were just like kindred spirits. And so if there was anyone that I would have wanted to have won more than myself, it was Sasha. And so, it was bittersweet that I lost, but to see her win, I was honestly really proud of her, because I knew that she was going to have a lot of the same conversations that I would be having had I been the winner.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have a chance to do those conversations together on the road in our college speaking tour.
She's really done a lot with the crown and elevated it.
Absolutely. Really, I get it could get lost in the shadows, but she's as much a producer and director and artist behind the scenes as she is in front. And so she spent half of the year, more than half the year, producing this show, Nightgowns, which went on tour. And I really hadn't seen many other queens producing their own tours, which is what I'm doing now with Shea Coulee and Bibi Zahara Benet and some other fierce black queens for Nubia.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, that's going to be amazing. Look at her.
Valentina. Oh,
it's
this
her.
bitch.
Valentina.
I'll tell you something, honey. I was, Valentina on the show, on Drag Race, I was like, this bitch is getting away with murder on our show. It really felt like she was set to be the winner. Mm-hmm. Until she had that obviously infamous moment with her mask.
Yes.
And not taking it off in the lip sync. But during that, it was clear to me that Valentina really knows how to play reality TV. When we were doing the Snatch Game. And I was doing a horrible Nene Leakes that I will never do again. And she was Miss Colombia or Venezuela right next to me. And so the rule was, like, Ru would say, okay, she'd ask the question, and then you'd have a certain amount of time to fill out your answer, and then she'd say, pencils down, and that's it. And so then you'd say your answer when she got to you. So here I am, all prim and proper, following the rules. I'm like, okay, Ru said, put down your pencils, put down your pencil, Peppermint. And Valentina was just sitting there, getting ready for the camera, making her, like, because her character was, like, supposed to be crying and upset.
Right, I remember.
So she, like, snot running down, and she was, like, really putting it over the edge. While we were writing, I was like, girl, you ain't writing, honey. You ain't gonna get this question. And so I would write my answer, and, like, we had, like, 10 seconds. So I, like, had her just first word that comes to mind, write it. Of course, I was like, damn, I wish I had thought of something different. I wish I had more time. Valentina was waiting until RuPaul said pencils down. Everyone had their answers done. She would listen to people's answers, and then she would pick up her pencil and write. And I was like, nobody's saying anything. What's going on? And then she had her answers, and she did lovely. And I was like, this girl knows what she's doing. I'm focused on, like, the rules of, like, this challenge. She's thinking about the show. Mm-hmm. And that's when I knew she was one to watch. She always really made sure that her situation was taken care of, because it would be good TV. And so she would always be the last one to get ready. She would start getting ready for everyone and be the last one, making sure everything was impeccable and in place. And one day she glued her entire hand. She was just gluing her nails on the table, and then went to move, and her whole hand was glued to the table.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, RuPaul is waiting. And she was like, well, honey, my hand's glued. And I was like, oh my God, what's gonna And so she, we eventually obviously got her hand unstuck from the table. She was my swimming partner when we would take breaks on the weekend. We like allowed to go to the pool and sit for a couple minutes. And she was my partner through the whole season. So we would talk and sing. She's got a great singing voice. I know some people might not believe it, but she has a great singing voice, and I love her very much.
She's a sweetie. Lady Red, RuPaul is waiting!
Oh, to where?
Like, that's like must have set hearts afire.
It did. RuPaul's
RuPaul is waiting. All right, look at her. She's waiting. She's waiting.
Oh my gosh, RuPaul. She is a legend and a trailblazer. And one thing that people don't know about her is, which I didn't know, they probably know now, I'm sure people have said it on this couch many times, but we were waiting on stage on the runway, which takes like hours to film, and my feet were killing me. And Ru was like, let these ladies, bring them some chairs, let these ladies take off their high-heeled shoes while y'all fix the cameras because they're in pain. So I was like, oh, thank you so much, Mama Ru. And then she was like, I'm going to the back. And she stood up, she had this gown on, she stood up and she had straight up basketball, sweat shorts, sweatpants, and sneakers on, and went down to the back. And I was like, damn, okay. And so that was just pretty cool. I was like, okay, like we're all on the same page, yeah.
Yes. She's like, see y'all later.
See y'all later. I gotta
go.